My conditioning trainer, Christian, he said to me before the Klitschko fight, he said, "What will you do after you win?" I said, "Probably be depressed for a long time." He said, "What?" I said, truthfully, I was almost expecting it, and I didn't think I'd ever box again. Even the day after the Klitschko fight, Sky Sports interviewed me, the UK broadcaster who put it on, and he said, "What's next for Tyson Fury?" I said, "I'll probably never box again." I knew. I said to my dad and my brothers before the fight, a week before the fight, I said, "Win, lose or draw," I said, "this is probably going to be my last fight." Because I knew the fire was going. I didn't have that hunger anymore. I had the hunger to beat Vladimir Klitschko, but not to carry on and continue. And I said I didn't want it to be about money or financial gain. I wanted to be the best of my time, beat the best man, and that's what I did. And I was a man of my word, and I didn't box again. Until 2.5 years later, I decided to make a comeback, because I was sitting here, 400 pounds, a drug addict, an alcoholic. By the way, I'd never took a drug in my life until I got to 27. But, you know, I look back on it now, and I think, would I change that? I wouldn't. And not many people will think, well, this man's crazy for saying that on a radio show, but I wouldn't change a thing, because I know it was supposed to happen, and I needed to be tested to see what type of character I was. Well, I'll tell you what happened. Like I said, I was waking up and I didn't want to be alive. I was making everybody's life a misery. Everybody who was close to me was pushing away. Nobody could talk any sense into me at all. And I'd go very, very, very low at times, very low. And I'd start thinking all these crazy thoughts and this, that and the other. And I was in my car, I bought a brand new Ferrari convertible in the summer of 2016. And I was in it, and I was on the highway. And there's a strip of the highway where I am, and at the bottom of about a 5-mile strip, there's a massive bridge that crosses the motorway. And I knew that, and I got the car up to 190 miles an hour. I was heading towards that bridge, and I didn't care what no one was thinking. I didn't care about hurting my family, me career, people friends, anybody. I didn't care. I didn't care about nothing. I just wanted to die so bad. I give up on life. And just as I was heading towards that bridge at 190 in this Ferrari, it had crushed like a Coke can, by the way, if I'd have hit it. I heard a voice say, "No, don't do this, Tyson. Think about your kids. Think about your family and your little boys and girls growing up with no father. And everyone saying your dad was a weak man. He left yous. He took the easy way out because he couldn't do anything about it." And before I turned into the bridge, I pulled on the motorway and I was shaking. I could feel myself shaking, and I pulled over and I was all nervous and I didn't know what to do, and I was frightened and I was so afraid. And I thought, that day, I'll never, ever, ever try or think about taking my own life ever again. And I didn't. I went and got help from the leading psychiatrist, doctor in the UK. And my dad went up with me, and she said to me, "Dad," she said, "Can I have a word alone with you, John?" He said, "Yeah." My dad told me what she said when he came out. She said, "He is not to be trusted alone. He's an imminent death risk." That's the highest level of suicide risk that she'd ever assisted. And she said, without his faith, he would have been dead a long time ago. But she said, faith alone ain't going to hold him, because that's going to break. And once that goes, he's done. So that put my dad's life terror as well, because he was checking up on me all the time. He wanted to be with me 24/7. He was even sleeping in my house with me, a married man with 4 kids. I was in a right state. I just didn't want to live anymore, and I had everything that a man could want. There wasn't nothing that I didn't have, but it meant nothing. Nothing meant anything. I felt worthless, and the longer it went on, the more it hurt inside, and the more I was hurting everybody. Everybody gave up on me. My full family thought I was definitely going to die and I was going to kill myself. And after that, I was thinking to myself, you know what, I need to get better. I need to do something. But every time I tried to go to the gym, I had another voice saying, "Nah, this ain't for us anymore. I'm not going to do this." I didn't want to do it. I'd run 200 yards and pull up. I wouldn't even get a mile and think, "Oh, can't be bothered. I don't want to do this. Boxing is not for me." I hated boxing at one stage. In 2016, early 17, I wouldn't have done a boxing fight for this room full of diamonds. No way. I hated boxing. I wouldn't watch it on the TV. I wouldn't read about it. I hated boxing. I'd done it my whole life and I didn't want no part of it anymore. And I was out drinking. I didn't care, give up. Taking drugs, like I said. And it come to a point I was doing that for 18 months of my life. And I was out 2017 Halloween. I was a £400 dressed up as a skeleton. And I go to this fancy dress party and I'm looking around and I'm thinking, these are all young kids compared to me. I'm 30 and I feel like I was the oldest guy in there, like 29. I was like, what am I doing here? Is this what you want for your life? And I thought to myself, this is not me. And no matter how many people told me before this, where I was going wrong, what I was doing, you need to act your life. You can only change your life if you want to change it. And I left and everyone said, are you going home early? I said, yeah. I left at 9 o'clock, I went home. And I got back home, I didn't say anything to the wife, I just went straight upstairs into a dark room. And I took the stupid skeleton suit off. And I was sat there. And I got on my knees and I was praying and begging God to help me. And at this point, I'd never begged or cried to God to help me before. I'd prayed a lot all my life, but I'd never been in this physical state before. I could feel tears running down my face. My chest was wet with tears because I knew I couldn't do it on my own. It wasn't possible for me because I'd tried and tried and tried and ended up back in the pub, back drinking. I almost accepted that was going to be my fate, an alcoholic. So I was on my knees in this bedroom, and after praying for about 10 minutes, I got up and I felt the weight of the world was lifted off my shoulders. And for the first time in years, I knew I was going to make a comeback. And I called my wife, I said, Paris, she said, what? She thought I was drunk coming home from the pub. I said, Monday morning, I start to regain mission to try and get the heavyweight championship of the world back. She said, yeah. Because before this, every time I'd have a beer, I'd come back and I'm going to be the heavyweight champion of the world again, because it was the alcohol talking. So I was like the man who called wolf 1,000 times on this stupid career that I was living on the past, thinking about years before glory days. And after this prayer, I got up, I said, right, this is going to be it. She didn't believe me 1 second. But even when I speak to her now, she says, that night you told me that, she said, I hear a difference in your voice. Something happened. Next day I phoned up Ben Davison. And I said, I don't want to go back down the old route with the same trainer, same promoter, same anything. I said, everything's got to change. I said, it's going to be a new Tyson Fury. And we called it Return of the Mac Mission. And as I went out that morning, after phoning Ben and arranging everything, I went out for a run in my sweatsuit. I had ambitions of running 2 miles. I got about 5 minutes into the run and stopped. And I walked. And while I was walking, I thought, I can't run, I'm too fat, 400 pounds. But I thought, I'm going to walk, I'm going to get out and walk. While I was walking, I was flicking through on my phone on Instagram. And I sees this video of Deontay Wilder saying, yeah, Tyson Fury's finally done that, because the week before I'd been at a boxing show in Manchester or something, and the press took a picture of me and it was like everywhere, this big, fat, out of shape, ugly, bald-headed, bearded, white as a sheet man. I was like a state. And he'd done this video, yeah, after seeing this evidence of Tyson Fury, I finally know he's finished. He can never come back, and even if I would have fought him in his heyday, I'd have knocked him out. And before that, he was talking about Mike Tyson, how he'd knocked Mike Tyson out in a round. And I thought to myself, that's very disrespectful to talk about someone who's not even from your era and wanting to fight them and all that sort of stuff when there's no possible chance. So I thought to myself, you know what, if I ever do fight you, I'm going to give it you for that reason. And then when I saw this other video of him saying the things about me and I couldn't come back and that, it gave me that much more motivation to return, just so I can beat Deontay Wilder. I said, but if I wasn't crazy, I won't be great. And I went over there and outboxed him. And nobody, apart from my brother or my father, thought I could do it. You know, even people who were close to me in camp, they were very unsure of what was going to happen.